I got a burrito from Wawa on the back. Eggs and salsa, fresh salsa. Oh, you guys remember? I did sour cream my order for 25 extra cents and they didn't even give it to me.
We're about the donuts.
Oh, damn.
Good morning. All right. Okay, when you walked in the door, I gave you all a little packet here for an ethical dilemma exercise. And we've already paired up. Thank you very much. The video was a really good lead-in. Every one of these things that they talked about is absolutely true. Finish this phrase for $1. Power corrupts, absolute power. Yes, corrupts, and who said it? Well, you said it, but I mean, Benjamin is very right. I'll give you $1 on the way out the door. Thank you. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Life, work, school, it's all filled up with a lot of ethical decisions. And you just got to ask yourself, a lot of times, you only get to ask yourself this question. It's like, is what I'm going to do legal? Is what I'm going to do fair to everybody involved? That could be the stakeholders, the shareholders, your co-workers, it can be your parents, your brothers and sisters, your teammates, and is it the right thing to do? And I tell you, one of the biggest decisions, they talked about this too in the video, a lot of ethical dilemmas come across because you're measured for your short-term production. And a lot of times books will get cooked by corporations because they're measured by how close they meet what they predict for the stock market. So they'll say, well, if we make too much money in the first quarter, and they'll reduce that down, or they'll make more money in the first quarter, and then the consequences get pushed down to the second quarter because they'll get a big bonus in quarter one. But the long term has suffered. And I think that you can all relate to that in your personal life as well. So what we're going to do is, you're in pairs. I'm going to assign you all one of these ethical dilemmas. I want you to work with your partner here. And what you're going to do is you're going to have 4 minutes and just read the thing out loud. After the dilemmas, there's a page here. Everyone else does it, and there's a record sheet. And there's some questions that guide you through this, like, what are the facts? Don't confuse facts with opinions. Identify what the ethical problem is. Number 6, what would you do to resolve the dilemma? And write down an answer that says, what would you do and why would you do it, basically. And after you've done this, we're going to have a group discussion. We'll just go team by team, ask you all what you came up with, and then I'll just point to someone and say, well, what do you think would happen next? And that happening next could be like you might get fired, you might get ostracized. Who knows? I just want to hear what you would think would happen next. What would happen next? Okay, so on the sheets here, I'll explain 14 as an example. It says, a friend at my workplace asked to use my computer terminal, number 14, while I am away from my desk. He works in the programming group. Why can't he use his own computer, I ask myself. Does he want to enter some data or run a program that he doesn't want his terminal ID to be associated with? How should I proceed? Okay, well, I was in that life for a very long time. And you'll hear a lot about user acceptance or acceptable use policies that say, I can't look at porn, I can't look at NFL channel, I can't do all these different things while I'm using my work computer, I can't do anything that's illegal, I can't, so you will sign these things. Secondly, typically, you will never let someone else log onto the network under your name. And this guy, if he's coming from the programming department, you would say, hey dude, here, let me log off. And go ahead, you can have at it if he's in that kind of security group of being programmers. The third thing is the only reason that anybody would ever come and say, hey, I'm from IT, let me get on your system, is because you put in a ticket and you've asked them to be there. So number 14, I just kind of eliminated from the pool because I think it's kind of unreasonable. You all have been working on computers since you were born, and you just know you don't do stuff like that. All right, so here we go. Let's go with 13, 12, 11. Can you two pair up, please? And you do number 10, number 9, And it'll be 8 and 7 and 6 back there and 5 and 4. All right, so we got 4 minutes. So pair up and discuss.
We're partners. You guys need to go. It's gonna go around. I'm lost for weeks. You can't do that. I wouldn't even say the law's not it. So shame's on. No, I told him. I told him. Sorry, dude. I think I told him. Yeah. Would you tell him? I don't think he knows which one. That's so mean. It's not your building. It's your fault that you're failing. You're capable of doing what they tell you, and that's just what it is. Therefore, come on. Get you one way. Get you one way. You're a Rugrats. Yeah, I love that show. Yeah, I watch Rugrats.
Take about another minute on this.
I was young. Jimi Hendrix. I was listening to Jimi Hendrix. Radio tour. Drank some sweet tea. Great.
Yeah, I felt like an American.
You know American Wawa?
Yep.
I don't know.
Well, they're so good.
They lack on breakfast just a little bit, but
I don't eat their breakfast. The only thing I eat for their breakfast is hash browns.
they have hash browns.
Yeah, they're smacked up.
Ooh, why do you order them?
You don't order them. You go to like where the table. Where the biscuits and stuff are. They're there.
They don't have. You can't order just a biscuit off the menu.
Exactly.
It's a wrap from them. No food.
We're not expecting an essay, it's just kind of like your gut
They have
reaction.
like egg and cheese and
So,
bacon. The bacon doesn't
basically
have
three
any
things:
flavor.
what would you do, why would you do it, and we'll just pick on someone and say, what do you think would happen next? Because life is all about trying to figure out what's going to happen next. All right, let's start out here. Which number do y'all have? All right, so number 5. Oh, this is good. You're a valuable member of the student store staff. So go ahead and tell us what happened. Take this for number 5 here.
So this person cash store. Today, it says that you needed to have the cash to reserve your spot on a senior trip. If you have money, you forgot it in your wallet. No one is able to bring it to you, and your friends don't have any cash. So you know the money is moved around through the student store, and you could technically borrow the money from the cash box. And
Take it
turn
from
around.
borrow it.
It says borrow, and nobody would probably know how to
Probably.
We said that it's not really necessary to take from the store, especially if it's something that like goes school, it's kind of, I guess, morally ambiguous about decisions, so we said we'd probably explain it to the person who's like, talk to them.
Very good. So basically, no, I'm not gonna take money out of the drawer. Also, if you're running cash registers, there'll be a little tape at the end of the game that says $488 came in today. Why is it only $468? Because there's $20 missing from the class trip. And then she said she would go to the teacher and say, hey, here's the deal. So what do you think would happen next? Anybody, what do you think would happen next? Do you think we would right? Yes, sir.
I think like, if I think she should be like, you gotta pay it back tomorrow, and if you don't, it's like an extra $1.50 every minute.
Yeah, so basically, we're only talking $20 here. Very, very reasonable. Thank you very much. Next group here. What was your moral dilemma here?
Ours is number 4, and it says, you have an opportunity for an internship at a respected business in the community. One of your qualifications come for the senior project that you worked on with several others. Through the interview process, you discovered that you are given credit for a key section of the project that really impressed the company. In fact, another member of the senior team with little input from you to the section. How do you proceed? So,
And this will happen. You're graduating, you want a job.
so we talked about like, I probably just explain it to like the company and be like, hey, like I was a big part of this team, but that wasn't my section. Like, I hope you know that wasn't me, but there were so many other things in it that I did, so.
I agree. You don't want to shortcut your own experience, but you can't take credit because what if that girl comes in next, you know? Anybody disagree with this vote? And what do you think would happen next for her in the interview? Anybody?
There's one credentials that she wouldn't get the job for the internship, but if they weren't, she probably still get it.
So it could have an adverse result. Yes?
She was honest and that was a good one.
Yeah. And intern is a key word too, because you have an internship to learn, and the woman here was so forthright and upcoming. Yeah, she was on the team, but on the team you don't always do everything, and you contribute without her contributions. The team might have failed anyway. So I think that's the right thing to do. Not that I'm the judge of all things right and wrong, but I think that's a good thing. Okay, let's go to this table here. Tell us, what number did you have? All right. So what happened to number 13?
Meanwhile, my boss told me that he was going to give me a new opportunity in our company because he was going to give it to a fellow employee. I think you should be stayed because they got the thing.
So meanwhile, the me here is interesting. My boss told me that he wasn't going to give me a new opportunity in the company because he was going to give it to the fellow employee. So you think you should wait it out? All right. Just anybody else? What do you think would happen next? Yes, sir.
The other colleague or the other co-worker probably like quit, and then well, it depends if this position is better than this position is guaranteed. I think that's what it depends on. But like, if this one's better, you'll probably stay there, and the other guy would be upset.
It brings up some really good points. Like once you're out there, you've been treasuring it out for like 5 or 6 or 10 years, and it says, "I'm Bob's the guy." Your boss comes and says, "Bob's the guy." Bob's gonna leave. So you're not the guy. You know, it's like maybe in all reality, depending on your situation, whether you're not mortgage, kids, if you're free, you might consider looking for your next position because you're not the guy in their eyes. Just some hard life facts there. So anyway, let's take another one. Back there in the corner with the donut table.
What?
We had 11.
11. Tell us what happened in number 11.
He was gonna fire a whole bunch of people, and one of the employees he was gonna fire was gonna buy his daughter braces and new carpet for his house, and he only told one person, and he told him not to tell anybody, so he's debating whether or not I'm telling the employee he shouldn't do that. He's just gonna get fired.
I think you should tell him.
And to clarify, boss tells me he's gonna fire a bunch of people that, who work for me, one of whom is this guy. So I'm like stuck in this vertical pinch.
I'd tell him.
So you would tell the guy who works for you.
Yeah.
Because if he's about to get fired, maybe. Yeah, I think he needs to know before he spends all this money. He's about to get fired, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. Anybody else? For or against this position?
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir?
I would be wrong.
Why not?
I think that would create problems in the company. And like he's in charge of his own financial things. And he thinks he needs a carpet.
No.
It's not my place to tell him whether or not he should.
I think this is very good because, remember, step one was what are the facts? So the fact that that guy's gonna buy a carpet or not is not really related to what the boss of the company is deciding to do. Now also, you have, what's your name back there in the orange shirt?
Hayden.
Hayden? Okay, so you're working for, let's just call him Joe. So now you have a responsibility to Joe to follow out whatever Joe says. So I think probably you're in a position now, you know something that from this direction, he doesn't know from this direction, he might not even care. He might just say, our bottom line needs slashing, I don't care. You know, if nothing else, you could go to your upward boss and just say, hey, you know, just share this over coffee if you have a kind of relationship with him. You know, because you also have to watch out for your own hide, but in some kind of non-direct way, you know, you might say, does your health plan cover braces or something? I mean, I don't know, but I think that you're in a position here, since you do work for the company, this is a piece of confidential information that's come down. It's not really yours to share, no matter how much you want to. You could be the next person being laid off.
I think you should tell him, but
Yeah,
it's like,
it didn't come from me.
yeah, hey, it's not me, but you know, you might get fired.
Yeah, and again, do these really have, you know, like right answers or not? Is it legal? It's legal. Is it the right thing to do?
Yeah.
Probably.
More than
Yeah, you know, so I'm also being devil's advocate because you will get stuff like this. Let's do a couple more here. This table in the middle, which one did you think?
We have number 7. So a customer asked for a product or service from us today. After telling him our price, he said he couldn't afford it. I know he could get it cheaper from a competitor. Should I tell him about the competitor or let him go without getting what he needs, which I do? So, the fact is that it's too much money, and that we decided that we would tell him about our competitor and other options, because obviously he needs like the service or product if he's coming to buy it. So we might tell him like the disadvantages of it, because if it's cheaper, then there's probably less value to it. So we would let him know that, but we would tell him.
That's a good marketing-based answer, because what kind of providers are there? You know, if you're a company, there's usually like maybe 3 kinds of types of provider. You're either like the economy, you know, you're going to sell as many as you can at a really cheap price, or you're possibly the luxury provider. You sell 10 a year at a very high price, or it might be a value proposition to where it's like most of the features for a really good price. You know, so somewhere in there. And I think by, you know, if you really are customer centric expert about the entire marketplace, yeah, you might say, well, the reason ours is more expensive because it's like 48% better and only 22% more price. You know, you can't stop them from going out and buying something somewhere else. You could also say, I don't know, you know, go out there and beat the deal if you can, but then they'll never come back and do business with you again. And it could be that by being so blatantly honest up front, again, taking a short-term hit, that longer term, you might actually develop a very long relationship with them because you were so honest. You know, and maybe they'll go to the second place and go, wow, you know, their price is cheaper, but their service stunk. We just really can't afford their service contract. That's where they're making their money. So I think that's, anybody else, what do you think would happen next, anybody? Everybody like the idea? All right, let's do more. How are we doing on time? We're doing, okay, that's good. All right, let's do let's see, you all. Yeah, all right, number, okay. You all, what number did you have? Number 10, tell us about number 10. So what should you do? What's that? What's that? Okay, so you're gonna replace the team member who won't, the designer. You're gonna replace the top software designer there. Okay, because he won't do the work. Okay, anybody yay or nay on this? Everybody agree with her? Okay.
It's not gonna work, you shouldn't.
Okay, good point. What do you think would happen next?
A massive outcry from the public.
Massive outcry. Has anybody watched the news in the last year or two?
Yeah, see him?
What was a big issue that came out a while back? Kind of like this.
Who's finished?
The Christian baker. That's right. He didn't
Oh,
put
yeah.
two dudes on top of the cake.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
He won
And-
that lawsuit.
Yeah, and you know, so I think the court came down and basically said you have a right to, you know, not put two dudes on top of the cake if that violates your beliefs. But
It's a different baker, like.
Yeah.
Not that big of a deal.
Honestly. I just don't have, you know, two dudes on top of the cake.
I think what we have here, yeah, the guy is refusing to do business. And some studying I was doing about religion in the workplace, you know, the Constitution says, of course, that we cannot force you to be a religion, we cannot force you to not be a religion. Such speech is like protected speech, but yeah, this is a real thorny topic here. I think if I'm paying bills for this guy to design some software, and you know, and we're not really asking him to violate his beliefs to do his job. This can be a thorny one there. You know, what if the company provided benefits to, you know, other things that you didn't believe in? Like, let's say you're a Christian Scientist and you don't believe in, you know, operations that are selling, you know, blood banking materials. It's a slope you I don't think you want to slide down. That's why it's called a dilemma. Let's see, who else? Did we get the back table?
Oh, 6?
Number 6. Tell us about number 6.
Alright, so you've been struggling in your economics class.
Not something that you would relate to anybody, okay?
Yeah, the content does not come easily, meaning the class is difficult. You put in a lot of time to try and try and understand what's going on in the class. But there's another student who breezes through the assignments, getting high marks for the work he turns in.
Yeah.
And you know for a fact that he's using his college-age cousin to do some of the assignments for him. You do not know how many assignments were turned in by the cousin, but you're certain that he, in fact, did not do all the work. Your frustration increases over the last assignment that you worked overtime on, but did poorly. Of course, this other student scored well on the same assignment. You could drop the teacher an anonymous note about the implied cheating on the part of this other student. It might get the teacher to slow down a little and help you in the long run. What do you do?
No.
So we know that this other student is getting help from his family members, but we don't know. He could just be like it's family help, so help at home. I'm not really sure if that, is that okay?
I guess the fact, you know, if we're trying to get the fact, is the cousin doing the work, or is the cousin advising him? Maybe his cousin's out in Greenspan or something.
Well, it says he does,
Exactly.
he knows for a fact he's done a few. So I'm not sure if that means like did them or helped them. I think it means did them. So I would say, you could, say something to the teacher about your grade. I don't know, cause you're not sure, you know, how many, it could have been just one or two, it could have been all of them. But you're not sure, so I would say it's none of your business unless you know for a fact that it's all of them. You know, I would say just, try and talk to the teacher about your own grade.
Anybody else? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
What do you- And what do you think would happen next based on his actions?
I mean, the kid would the other kid would probably struggle when if his cousin stops helping him, you know, then the teacher would notice, probably catch on, and, I think teachers are probably, like, if I asked her for help, she might help me, right? I mean, not
Definitely would
that,
help you.
Yes, as the sainted mother would say, the truth will out eventually,
yeah.
and it'll, you know, Karma's a bad person. All right, I don't think your team has jumped in. What number did you have, sir?
We had 9.
Number 9.
It says, our company prides itself on hiring minorities. One Asian candidate fully fits the job requirements for our open position. However, we're concerned that our customers won't understand his limited command of the English language. What should I do? I say if he fits all the requirements for the job, then she did it. But if it like seems that he doesn't know everything with English, then he could get help along the way. But like if he can fully do the job, then there's no reason not to hire him.
Anybody else? What do you think? Yes, sir.
It depends on how much you need him to do. Like if you need him out on the floor selling items, that might create some problems. But like if he's running the books, that doesn't matter. So it just depends on what he needs to do.
Yes, ma'am?
The also kind of overlooks the fact that he could be successful with his native language.
Cool. I like all, in fact, I was making notes and I wrote down those exact 3 things. Number 1, he meets the requirements, and you're right. He's probably done a faster job of learning English than we've done of learning Mandarin, Chinese, or whatever the language is. So yeah, there's resources out there. If we need him to do that, and number 2, you brought my very favorite 2 words are it depends. You can basically follow up any question with it depends, like, should I go to Kroger's? And I go, it depends. It depends on the
Traffic?
It depends, a great answer. And then your piece also absolutely right. It's like maybe they're going to expand their market over in China. This guy, he's a perfect fit for learning the business, learning the technical skills, coming up to speed a little fast on something, and putting him out in a place where we can really use the skills that the other 99.9% of our staff don't have. So that's really a piece of the diverse culture that we're looking for. Everybody can hopefully bring something to the table that's unique to them. Let's see, let's give anybody. Did I get you all? Okay, what number did you have?
We have 12.
Number 12. Tell us about 12.
My computer operator told me he noticed several personal letters from the computer that I was responsible to manage. When we had no specific policies and against personal use of company facilities, I was concerned. I approached the letter writer to discuss the situation. She told me she'd written the letters on her own time to practice using our word processor. What should I do? We said that next time that she should maybe ask, instead of just doing it, because while she did it on her own time, we were responsible for the computer.
Okay. So she says that the employee should ask. Anybody have some different idea about that? How about this line here? It says, while we had no specific policies then against the use of personal company facilities. Does that play in anybody's thinking on here? Yes, sir.
I mean, if it says that there's no rule against it, then I don't see why it's wrong. I still feel like you should ask about it first, just to make sure. But she shouldn't get in trouble for it, like she didn't do it.
Yeah, if you're managing the device, you will know that every piece of output from that printer actually costs about 14 cents. And that you're on this contract with Xerox, they're gonna charge you, if you're on a metered service, like 14 cents every time that thing spits out a piece of paper. So it's not like it's the other class, there's no such thing as a free lunch, there's no such thing as a free printout. And you know, if it's a really serious concern, even if it's a minor concern, you shouldn't really be using other people's stuff, you know. So I think that covers everybody. A couple of, oh, I'm sorry, you were so participatory, I thought that you had actually, so I apologize. Tell us, what number did you have?
New number 8, and it says, our company prides itself on the connect-based payment system. One of my employees has done a tremendous job all year, he deserves strong recognition. However, he's already paid at the top of the salary range for his job grade. And our company has too many people on grade level, so we can't promote him.
If he's doing better than the people in grade 11, we would, that's one of the people in grade 11. That also creates a sense of people who get secure in their jobs, so they feel like they have to position themselves to do better.
I like the way you think. Anybody else? Anything else that you might add or disagree with on here? That is a good question. So now, what's your name? Matthew has taken this guy and swapped him with this person. Okay. What do you think will happen next? Let's start with you, Matthew. You've made this managerial decision. What do you think will happen next?
I think it would light a fire in there for you to keep working hard and keep innovating, because they don't see themselves as
So you think this would be motivational? Well, for one person. How about the rest of the organization? What do you think might happen? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be the same way, like what he said, like the person who got moved down, they probably feel like, well, if he got moved up to replace me, if I did better, then I can move right back up to my spot. Or as people above him could try to work harder and move up even further.
Yeah, there are companies like Capital Holding, for instance, if you go work for them, they'll tell you up front, we have a 20-70-10 ratio. 20% of you will be top level performers, 70% of you keep the boat moving forward, and 10% of you will lose your job next year. And they'll just tell you that up front. And it's like, that's how they keep people motivated. And they also keep the workforce fresh. And in any kind of other bell curve situation, you know, you have your producers, your like really +6 standard deviations in this direction and -6 in this direction, and like everybody else. So this could be a situation where like the corporate culture could say, hey, you know, at the end of the year, 10% of you will be looking for another job. That's if you're in that kind of environment, and maybe this is a family business, who knows what it is. But the thing is, a couple alternative thoughts for you to think of. Other forms of recognition. Maybe it is a situation where it's the end of the year and all the guys in the top and gals in the top level, maybe they're banging it out too. You know, there could be a spot bonus not related to the salary. Say, hey man, that was so good, here's $1,000. They could give them like, here, have another week off of vacation, or have 2 weeks off. It could be recognition time. Importantly, he could sit down with the boss and say, you know, let's negotiate this into next year's budget. You know, that if I deserve to be in there, let's make this happen. And also the boss could just sit down with him eye to eye and say, man, we want you here, we need you here. What will it take for us to keep you here? And again, that could form into next year's negotiations. Your responses are fabulous and thoughtful. They are stuff that you will hit, and the business major is the most popular major in the country. And if you all go off to college, a lot of you will probably be sitting in business classes, and you will probably have to take a 3-hour class in ethics as well. If I could sum it up, I'd say, you know, these things are very real. And as you go through life, whether it's with your coaches or your parents or your coworkers, anybody who you need to maintain a good relationship with, you just gotta basically do good and avoid evil. It's never always a black and white thing. Anyway, thanks a whole lot, and I'll turn it back to our favorite teacher. All right, thanks.
Bye.
Hey, man.